Welcome to Reality Theory episode 20, The Mysterious Death of Obama's Alleged Gay Lover, Donald Young. Now, I'm doing this because of the Tafari Campbell death, which is very mysterious for me. I haven't done a whole episode on it because there's not enough facts coming out, but I did a short little video on it. And just a little refresher, he died in a pond, so it wasn't like there were currents or waves like I'm under, and he was an accomplished swimmer. He could swim very well. He died paddleboarding. And he died in 8 feet of water. There was a second paddleboarder. First, they didn't say who this person was, or first they said he died by himself. Then they said there was a second paddleboarder, but they didn't give the person his name or description. Now they're saying a female Obama employee was the second paddleboarder. So I really don't know what to make of this. It's very mysterious to me. There's not a lot of facts that they're releasing, and the whole story doesn't make sense. And when something doesn't make sense, there's a mystery going on. So I don't know what's going on in that case, but I do know that the mainstream narrative is off, and I would say this death right now is a mystery. I won't say it's a murder. I won't say it's an accident. It's a mystery. We don't know. Was he murdered? Was it the vax like people are saying? I don't know. I don't know. I think, but it requires further investigation and looking at patterns. So there was another mysterious death connected to Obama way back in 2007, right when he was gearing up to run for president. And this happened right at the kind of breaking point of him kind of breaking onto the national scene. So let's look at this, the death of Donald Young, who was, according to Donald Young's mother, he was a close friend of Obama. And according to a man called Larry Sinclair, and we're going to be taking a lot of Larry Sinclair's work for this podcast. I can't vouch for it being truth. I can't vouch for it being false. There was a defamation case against him that failed. So he wasn't defaming people or making false claims in the book, according to the court of law. So let's look at the mysterious death of Donald Young. All right, let's play start. So I think this was in a tabloid, not too many mainstream media outlets really covered this case, but there was a man by the name of Donald Young, if you see him with the dreadlocks next to the building, who was murdered in Chicago in his apartment. Now, I know a lot of my people think, well, people get murdered in Chicago all the time, which is true. It has a very high rate of gun violence, but a lot of the people who get killed in Chicago are, is it gang related or drug related? And this guy was an aspiring principal. He was a music teacher and he was a choir director. Now, these aren't the normal people who get involved in gun violence or who are killed in drug related or gang related homicides, which would lead one to ask what would be the motive for him being killed. Now, he was at the same church as Barack Obama and Reverend Wright. I don't know if you guys remember Reverend Wright's whole scandal about his church being racist and him saying like God hates America or something along the lines of that. And it was a big scandal, and Obama overcame it, and he found a new non-Black church to go to, and he wasn't the scary Black radical that people thought, and very much so, he was never a scary Black radical. But let's look at what happened. On December 26th, this is the day after Christmas, Chicago police were searching for answers Tuesday about who shot and killed, excuse me, a beloved choir director and teacher in his South Side home. Meanwhile, funeral arrangements were set for Donald Young, who for 2 decades directed the choir at Trinity United Church of Christ, a high-profile African-American church where Obama and his family attended. Donald Young, choir director of Trinity United Church, was found murdered. U.S. Senator Barack Obama attends the church at 400 West 95th Street in the Brainerd community. Young, 47, also a deacon at Trinity, was found shot in the head, headshot, tap out, by his roommate Saturday morning, Chicago police said. He suffered several gunshot wounds, according to authorities. Now, for this investigation, given that there hasn't been too many investigations by mainstream media outlets or even bloggers, we're going to rely on this book by Larry Sinclair. Now, Larry Sinclair was on the scene briefly in 2008 when he had a press conference saying that he gave oral sex to Barack Obama while Obama snorted cocaine. And this was in the back of a limo. And at the time, it seemed like a very crazy allegation because Obama came across as a very clean-cut, heterosexual male, and it seemed like another smear on Obama, like he was a crazy black Muslim radical. Now he's gay. So I didn't pay too much attention to it back then. But re-looking at the books, he actually came with a lot of receipts. He came with phone numbers. He came with names. He came with places, and he actually challenged Obama to like give out his phone records and everything to see who would match. And the Obama campaign never brought up their phone records. And he gave a name of the limo driver who linked up to them, who was actually linked to Tony Rezko, who was a kind of corrupt businessman who bought half a home for Obama and was a big campaign donor for Obama until he got incarcerated for corruption charges. So let's look at what Larry Sinclair, the man who said he had consensual oral sex with Obama, and what he has to say about Donald Young and how he came to the conclusion that Obama was involved in the death of Donald Young. Not necessarily Obama did it, but someone did it on Obama's behalf because they were worried about a gay sex scandal derailing a major presidential campaign. So this is what Larry says. Donald was murdered, shot to death. He was also an openly gay male by his own admission and was involved in an intimate and sexual relationship with Senator Barack Obama for years. Donald was killed on December 23rd, 2007, after having been in communication with me for about 4 months. Wow, okay. In November 2007, a man by the name of Larry Bland was brutally murdered in Chicago. An openly gay man, Bland would occasionally attend services at Trinity United Christian Church. This coincidentally is the same church that Barack Obama was a member of for 20 years. Bland, a victim of multiple gunshot wounds, was viciously murdered in his home. Within days of Donald's death, someone started saying the person who murdered Larry Bland in November was the same person who murdered Donald Young in December. Nothing could have been further from the truth. There was a great deal of thought and planning put into the murder of Donald Young. This was essential in making it appear as though the same person had ended Larry Bland's life. Initially, the plan worked until people close to Donald and his family spoke out, accusing the mayor's office and the Chicago police of failing to bring Young's killer to justice. Their inaction was perceived. There is Donald Young right there. It's a big guy with dreads. It should be noted that even though Donald Young had not been declared dead until 12:10 p.m. Sunday afternoon, December 23rd, 2007, Jeremiah Wright announced Donald's death during at least one early service Sunday morning at Trinity United Church of Christ. Not only did Jeremiah Wright announce Donald's death, he even announced the cause of death, which according to sources would not have been released yet. Jeremiah Wright, just like Barack Obama, already knew Donald Young was dead and how he was killed. Both men also knew who it was that had been chosen to silence Young and protect Barack Obama's bid for the presidency of the United States. Donald was the more likely choice. All right, here we go. In early fall of 2007, I received the first phone call from someone claiming to be with the Obama campaign. It was a man who introduced himself as one Mr. Young. This first conversation quickly made it clear that this Mr. Young was not rescinding to my calls representing the Obama campaign or AKP. You see, Mr. Young asked me, why didn't you ask Senator Obama to come clean about the sexual encounters the two of you had in 1999? So a little bit of preface. Larry Sinclair calls the Obama campaign after he heard that Obama says that he hasn't done drugs since high school, right? And he says, hey, that's not true. He should really rescind it because I did drugs with Barack Obama in 1999. So they have his phone number and he's called the campaign. So the campaign calls him back and asks him, excuse me, why didn't you ask Obama about your sexual encounter, which was weird for Larry Sinclair. A red flag went up immediately, as I had not mentioned anything to the Obama campaign or AKP about the sexual encounter, only the drug use. Shortly after this was asked, our first conversation ended. It would turn out that the conversations would continue over the next several months, and as they did, Mr. Young soon became Donald Young. Over the course of the next few months, Donald Young confided that Barack Obama himself had asked him to call me and find out who I had spoken to, which media outlets had been contacted, and what reporters, family, or friends I had told about the November 1999 encounters between Obama and myself. In these phone conversations and text messages, Donald at one point relayed to me, Barack and his pastor are discussing the best way to publicly correct his statements about the extent of his drug use, leading me to believe that Obama had decided to be honest. Even as Mr. Young became Donald Young, it still did not dawn on me exactly who this man was, other than being someone engaged in a relationship with Barack Obama. After all, it was Barack Obama, according to Donald, who had given him my phone number so he could contact me. Donald called me again about a week later. In this call, Donald displayed a completely different demeanor, specifically when telling me to be careful. Donald stated, Larry, do not wait for Barack to admit his 1999 drug use. He's not going to admit anything. He then went on to say, I feel bad that I have been used to get information from you so that Barack and his people can attack you. I realize now that Barack used me to get as much information from you as possible to try and make you look bad. Then he informed me, you know, Barack and I have been lovers for some time, and Reverend Wright knows it. With each call, Donald became more candid about his physical interactions with Obama. According to him, he and Barack had been involved in a sexual relationship for several years, and that Reverend Jeremiah Wright, church staff, and some members of the congregation knew about it. During one conversation, Donald informed me that he and Barack engaged in anal intercourse, and that Donald had indeed penetrated Barack from behind. Donald went even further by saying Barack and he would satisfy each other by playing pitching and catching. For those who are not familiar with the term pitching, it describes when he was giving, okay, we get it. No, I believe Donald Young, and I also believe that his death was at the direction of both Barack Obama and Jeremiah Wright. On December 27, 2007, just 4 days after Donald's murder, a guy named Joshua posted on a BET message board the following statement. Joshua said on December 27, 2007, well, I really hope the fact that he was involved with Obama cannot be linked with his murder. Okay. Interesting. It was not until late February or early March 2008 that I came to realize that the Mr. Young contacted me in 2007 was, in fact, Donald Young. There he goes again in church. The murdered choir director of the Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago. At that time, I immediately began trying to contact Chicago Police Department investigators handling the Young murder. Not one time did the Chicago police return my calls until the following affidavit dated April 1st, 2008 was sent to them. And then they still waited until April 23rd, 2008, the day after the Pennsylvania primary when Barack Obama was beaten so badly. So here's his affidavit that he sent to the police. So Larry Sinclair thought that Barack Obama was involved in the murder. Now, he may have had a motive for being involved in the murder. That's all we kind of really have. That's why I say the death is a mystery. There's nothing else really linking Obama to the murder, but it is an unsolved murder, and there are a lot of unsolved murders in Chicago, but a lot of those involve gang members and the not snitching code. And usually when you have like a high profile person, involved in a church, high profile church, politically connected church, you get like a serious major investigation. Like the whole big Jussie Smollett investigation was way bigger than the investigation into this guy's death. So I don't know. Usually when you have high profile people and people in good standing, teachers, aspiring principals, choir directors, you usually get a lot of press on them dying. And then you also get the police making a major attempt to solving the murder. But the murder is unsolved and there's not even any updates since he died, really. So here's an affidavit. Attached here too is a sworn affidavit confirming some contact I had with a gentleman who identified himself to me as Donald Young of Chicago in the fall of 2007. I have made several calls to the Chicago Police Department without a single call being returned. Sincerely, Lawrence W. Sinclair, affidavit of Lawrence W. Sinclair. In several telephone conversations with his brothers, nieces, and others, I was reassured that the family of Donald Young believed he was murdered to protect Barack Obama. It also became clear right from the start that members of the Young family were truly fearful of speaking out publicly. To this day, they fear for their own personal physical safety. In one conversation with a relative, it was expressed that they are 100% convinced if any one of them speaks out publicly on what they believe, they will most certainly be burying another family member at worst, or at least be visiting that person in jail. This family member expressed fear of retaliation by the Chicago police, the Chicago mayor's office, as well as from members of officials of Trinity United Church of Christ. Larry, you do not understand how things work here in Chicago. My family was put through hell when we accused the mayors, okay? So there's the mother right there. This is in the same tabloid. The mom fears son was slain to protect secret pals of Powell, who became president. Oh, the secrets of Powell, who became president. So she believes he was killed to protect Barack Obama. That this is his mom, Norma Jean Young, and here's what else she had to say. All right. Here's from the Wayne Madsen report. And I know Wayne Madsen, a lot of people say he's a conspiracy theorist. I find him to be a very good journalist. I've had conversations with him. Okay. The story about President Barack Obama's bisexual past will not go away. Now, in an exclusive interview with the Globe, Norma Jean Young, the 76-year-old mother of the late Trinity United Church of Christ choir director Donald Young, has spoken out and declared that persons trying to protect Obama murdered her son at the height of the 2007 Democratic presidential election to protect Obama from embarrassing revelations about his homosexual relationship with her son. Donald Young's bullet-ridden body was found in his Chicago apartment, December 23rd, 2007, in what appeared to be an assassination-type slaying. Norma Jean Young revealed to the Globe that her son Donald, who was openly gay, was a close friend of Obama. Mrs. Young also believes the Chicago Police Department has not placed a high priority on finding the killers of her son. Ms. Young, who is herself a former employee of the Chicago Police Department, told the Globe that there is more to the story, adding, I do believe they are shielding somebody or protecting somebody. And she went on to say, what was the cause of my son's death? I am very suspicious that it may have been related to Obama. Donald and Obama were very close friends. Whatever went on with this is very private. I'm suspicious of a cover-up. Now here is some more information from Wayne Madsen. President Obama and his chief of staff, and this is, I don't want to get into too much of the gay allegations on Obama, but to kind of confirm the fact that he was gay, that he would have had a motivation to silence Donald Young. And there's a lot of allegations about his sexuality that will confirm what Larry Sinclair says. And then if you confirm what Larry Sinclair says, you can confirm his suspicions on Donald Young. Again, it's a mystery. I'm not blaming anyone yet. I'd like to see some more investigation, but according to a lot of people, at least Obama had a reason to be a suspect or had a motive to want this guy dead. President Obama and his chief of staff, Rahm Emanuel, are lifetime members of the same gay bathhouse in uptown Chicago, according to informed sources in Chicago's gay community, as well as veteran political sources in the city. The bathhouse, Man's Country, caters to older white men, and it has been in business for some 30 years and is known as one of uptown Chicago's grand old bathhouses. WMR was told by sources who are familiar with the bathhouse that it provides lifetime memberships to paying customers and that the club's computerized files and pre-computer paper files include membership information for both Obama and Emanuel. However, sources close to Man's Country believe the U.S. Secret Service has purged the computer and filing cabinet files of the membership data of Obama and Emanuel. Members of Man's Country are also issued club identification cards. WMR learned that Obama and Emanuel possessed the ID cards, which were required for entry. Obama began frequenting Man's Country in the mid-1990s, during the time he transitioned from a lecturer at the University of Chicago Law School to his election as Illinois State Senator in 1996. Emanuel reportedly joined Man's Country after he left the Clinton White House and moved back to Chicago in 1998, joining the investment firm Wasserstein Perella and maintaining his membership during the 2002 campaign for the U.S. 5th District House seat vacated by Rod Blagojevich, who was elected governor. Man's Country appears to be a one-stop shopping center for gay men. The club's website, which advertises steam rooms, fantasy rooms, bedrooms, male strippers, adult movies, and lockers. Okay. However, Man's Country was not the only location for Obama's predatory gay sex activities. The Chicago gay community is aware that Obama often made contacts with younger men at his famous pickup basketball games. It was these pickup matches where Obama first met Emanuel and young Democratic campaign worker and senior bank vice president named Alexei Giannoulias, currently running for Obama's old U.S. Senate seat, now occupied by Roland Burris. Giannoulias successfully ran for Illinois treasurer in 2006 after being drafted for the run by Chicago's Democratic machine. So according to one of Obama's girlfriends, he once considered a gay relationship. So in this letter, Obama wrote to his girlfriend. Referring to the letter to his first intimate girlfriend, he writes, Obama wrote somewhat elusively to his first intimate girlfriend that he had thought about and considered gayness, but ultimately decided that a same-sex relationship would be less challenging and demanding than developing one with the opposite sex. Now, this book and this letter was written by his college girlfriend, Alexander McNear, and it's by a book by David Garrow called Rising Star. And he got all these articles from, or no, these letters from Emory University, where Obama's girlfriend donated all her letters from Obama to Emory Archive Museum. College girlfriend Alex McNear, for instance, redacted a section of a letter she shared with Obama biographer David Garrow, thinking Obama's reflections on homosexuality too explosive. Her concern was understandable. In his early 20s, Obama had written McNear that he viewed gay sex as an attempt to remove oneself from the present, a refusal, perhaps to perpetuate the endless farce of earthly life. Obama continued, you see, I make love to men daily, but in the imagination. My mind is androgynous to a great extent, and I hope to make it more so. The passage did not make the hardcore edition of Garrow's 2017 book, Rising Star. So again, what happened to Larry Sinclair when he was making these allegations is he was actually silenced because he was arrested on the orders of Beau Biden, Joe Biden's son. So we're going back to Larry Sinclair's book for this one. The charges were dismissed 3 days after my websites were taken down to denial of service attacks on August 24th, 2008. Charges were dismissed on the very day that I received an email from a participant at the Democratic National Convention in Denver informing me Beau Biden was taken into a meeting with high-level Obama advisors and told to get rid of the charges against you. Biden was told that the arrest and filing of the charges had served the purpose of discrediting your June press conference, and the campaign does not want the publicity that a September 11th, 2008 trial will bring. Make it go away now. So, and this has been the allegations that the kind of Larry Sinclair also has made, that that's how Joe Biden became vice president, was by protecting Barack Obama from the allegations that Larry Sinclair was making. The Delaware Attorney General, Beau Biden, son of VP Joe Biden, along with his father, did use an Obama campaign worker to bring an indictment against me for a crime that never happened. Then Senator Joe Biden abused the power of his U.S. Senate office to knowingly and intentionally provide the Social Security information with false information generated by his son, done for the purpose of harassment and denying me my sole means of survival. Joe and Bo Biden, along with DC U.S. Attorney, had me arrested and held in jail for 5 or 6 days without access to my attorney, my required medication, and medical care, for no other reason than to try and do damage control for Barack Obama. In exchange, the office of vice president went to Biden. The second, and Delaware U.S. Senate seat is waiting for Joseph R. Biden. This must have been before Bo Biden died. Remember the words of Joe Biden on Oprah? Joe had his choice of any office he wanted. So these are, we're going to go back to the kind of corroborating allegations that Obama was on the gay scene in Chicago while he was a state senator. A prominent member of Chicago's homosexual community claims Barack Obama's participation in the gay bar and bathhouse scene was so well known that many of us who were aware of his lifestyle were shocked when he ran for president and finally won the White House. It was preposterous to the people I knew then to think Obama was going to keep his gay life secret, says Kevin DeJuan, who was a gossip columnist in Chicago for various blogs when Obama was living in the city as a community organizer and later as a state senator. WND reported Tuesday. Nobody knew Obama in the gay bar scene thought he could possibly be president, said DeJuan. DeJuan, founder and editor of the Hillary Clinton supporting website hillbuzz.org, told WND he had first information from 2 different sources that Obama was personally involved in the gay bar scene. If you just hang out at these bars, the older guys who have been frequenting these bars for 25 years will tell you these stories, DeJuan said. Obama used to go to the gay bars during the week, mostly on Wednesdays, and they said he was into older white guys. Now we'll get back to Wayne Madsen. Investigative journalist Wayne Madsen, who worked with the National Security Agency from 1994 to 1998 as a Navy intelligence analyst, confirmed DeJuan's claims. It is common knowledge in the Chicago gay community that Obama actively visited the gay bars and bathhouse in Chicago while he was an Illinois state senator, Madsen told WND. WND also spoke with a member of the East Bank Club in Chicago who confirmed Obama was a member there and was known to be a homosexual. The upscale fitness club, which has some 10,000 members, is not a gay facility, but it's one of a number of places identified by the Chicago homosexual community as a gay gym where homosexuals meet and engage in sexual activity. All right, that's it. So I don't want to harp too much on Obama being gay. That doesn't really matter to me. If he's gay, God bless him. The problem is if he's having people killed. And again, it's a mystery. It's definitely a mystery. There's only, for all that we've had that Larry Sinclair said, and even if everything Larry Sinclair said is true, it just means Obama had a motive to have this guy killed. And again, maybe because of the lack of police investigation, it's 16 years since the case has happened. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because, one mysterious death is bad luck, right? Could have been bad luck. Just so happened that a man, Larry Sinclair, said Obama was having a relationship with, and who Donald Young's own mom said was close with Obama. Could have just been bad luck. Random person tried to rob the wrong house, got killed. Could have been another gay lover. Could have been a lot of other things. But now that we have another really bad luck case, the Tafari Campbell case, seems like the case of the most horriblest luck in the world, that an accomplished swimmer dies paddleboarding in 8 feet of water with Secret Service around him and right next to the president, and then they can't find his body for 10 hours in a pond that is as big as 8 feet deep with, you'd think, helicopters, lights, state police. This is someone tied to a major, rich, powerful former president of the United States. And it's interesting, just to speculate a little bit, that Tafari Campbell was living in the same house as Barack Obama, right? He was his personal chef. He was personal chef ever since he left office. And he's been out of office for 7 years. He's been his personal chef. And then before that, he was the White House chef, but you know, he liked this guy so much, he hired him on as a full-time job. So that is it, man. I'm just saying it's a mystery. I just wish it was a little more investigation. Black Lives Matter, Gay Lives Matter, Donald Young's life matters. And I think it would be nice to have his family have some closure. If Barack Obama had nothing to do with it, it would be nice if he could have his name cleared. You know, and he could do this because I think Larry Sinclair still has all like the cell phone records. So it'd be real easy just to put it to rest. You know, put us so-called conspiracy theorists to rest and show no, Obama is not gay. Larry Sinclair is a total liar. Here are the cell phone records. Here is Obama's, you know, schedule for the days that show he wasn't there. But I know it's a little too late for that. But again, this is just one of many mysterious deaths that surround like people in power and that are really not investigated by authorities or the media. So, you know, investigate, man. It's up to us because the police and the media aren't investigating. So just an eye out. It's a murder mystery. I don't know. I just gotta say I don't know. But if what Larry Sinclair is saying is true, you would have to think that Barack Obama would be a prime suspect. That's it.